WrestleMania 37 delivered us a big show, not the big show, filled with a lot of fun wrestling. We had two celebrities who let themselves get beaten up, a historic main event, and a big dog wreaking havoc. I'm PCW's Tom Colohue, and today I'm going to break down the 5 best matches of WrestleMania 37. Don't forget to click like on this video and subscribe for more reviews, lists, and backstage content from PCW Wrestling. Number 5. Asuka vs Rhea Ripley. The Raw Women's Championship match was part of the ushering in of a new age of women's champions. Asuka's championship reign hasn't delivered, largely because she simply hasn't been booked to clean finishes for the majority of it. While this was a loss for her, it does allow an opportunity to refresh, and we got a fantastic match out of it to get to that point. A number of submissions and counters contributed to a fast pace, with one clever counter resulting in Rhea Ripley capturing the championship on the grandest stage of them all. Asuka has been a rare bright point for a struggling Raw women's division. Thankfully, Rhea Ripley is a star in the making and can seriously lighten that burden now that she has arrived to dominate proceedings. Number 4. Kevin Owens vs Sami Zayn. If there was one match on the WrestleMania card that was guaranteed to deliver, it was this match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. These two men have insane history, meaning that even with an incredibly small amount of build, we still have the required passion and intensity to perform at the highest level. Some small credit has to go to WWE and Logan Paul for not being overly involved. Paul was there to draw some eyes from Peacock, who might not usually watch, and the pressure to put him over must have been intense. Instead, he sat at ringside, enjoying the action much like the rest of us, and eventually taking in a stone cold stunner for his troubles. While Sami Zayn isn't a big winner by any stretch, his character work is great fun. Meanwhile, this goes a long way to helping Kevin Owens recover from his repeated losses to Roman Reigns. Number 3. Bobby Lashley vs Drew McIntyre. The match that opened WrestleMania was a very memorable one that is well worth a watch and a rewatch in future. Drew McIntyre gave us an eye-catching display, showing off some new moves and focusing on trying to weaken Bobby Lashley's arm so that the hurt lock wouldn't be quite so devastating. It's especially fun seeing McIntyre throw out moves that he's picked up from previous big bad boss Brock Lesnar. Meanwhile, Bobby Lashley was an extremely different man than he was this time last year when he was losing random unbuilt matches to Aleister Black. This last year has been all Lashley, and at WrestleMania he proved just how much he deserved it, expressing himself through pure physicality and eventually taking a McIntyre who has been the WWE Champion for most of the year and putting him out right there in the middle of the ring. Number 2. Sasha Banks vs Bianca Belair. History was made of our first night main event, but it would have all been for nothing if the match wasn't any good. Thankfully that was far from the case. The most impressive thing about this match was the overall psychology. In less than 20 minutes, Banks and Belair put together a long-term story that seemed to completely ignore all of the poor build that came before. Sasha Banks was a gift giver here as much as anything. She offered a platform, a showcase on which Bianca Belair was able to perform to her utmost. She carried Sasha around, at times tossing her around like a sack of potatoes, and dominated the ring. That said, the main conversation topic by the end was Belair's hair. Sasha Banks spent the whole match using it against her. She pulled it, wrapped it around the ropes, and even used it as part of a submission. This was good old-fashioned build-up with the payoff when Belair hit the hair whip and quite possibly scarred Banks for life. This is our new era, and based on what we saw at WrestleMania, it's going to be a very fun ride. Before getting to number 1, let's recap our top 5 so far. Number 5, Asuka vs Rhea Ripley. Number 4, Kevin Owens vs Sami Zayn. Number 3, Bobby Lashley vs Drew McIntyre. Number 2, Sasha Banks vs Bianca Belair. And finally, our number 1 match from WrestleMania 37, Roman Reigns vs Edge vs Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns has been the top guy of the WWE. He overtook Drew McIntyre for that right so effortlessly, nobody even questioned it. Since January, Edge has been working with Roman to build towards a one-on-one match that eventually, in March, had the addition of Daniel Bryan. That right there is all we needed to know that this was going to be magical. The match plan was clear, with the 3 men working in pairs for small sections of the match and rotating out whenever a big move would come through. Over time they broke out of the ring, and upon returning, they brought weaponry with them. Jey Uso added to the match simply by not screwing around. He was aggressive and involved from the off until Edge put him out of action. Later he would still return to play a part in the finish. The most important thing that made this match work was both the range and the tempo. Keeping things moving quickly and keeping things from repeating gave us a constant feeling of what might come next. That thrill, that excitement was something that we could ride all the way to the inevitable finish. I mean, come on. It's Roman Reigns. Surely this was inevitable. Like our list? Don't like our list? Drop down into the comments and let us know what you thought the best matches of WrestleMania were. Be sure to hit that thumbs up and check out the Independent Wrestling On Demand service linked in the description for more great wrestling content on subscription. I've been PCW's Tom Colohue. Thank you for watching.